Hey guys, Desloader Gaming here, and boy do I get this question a lot. So you signed up for a Sweep Your Social casino online because you want to play some 50-cent blackjack at 1 in the morning in your pajamas in the middle of a snowstorm without somebody next to you smoking or hogging the slot machine that you wanted to play on. So you already set up your account, you're all set to go, you give them your credit card, doesn't work. Give them your debit card, won't run it. So you're stuck. Now what do you do? Now before I tell you how to fix that problem, I gotta tell you why it's a problem, what's even going on here. So a little quick 2-minute explanation on that. So let's say you're on like some random website and you want to buy a cool power bank or something. Well, just like most vendors, their whole online cart and checkout system is with Shopify. You've probably heard of them. Well, when they go to run your card, they need something called a payment processor. So who are they going to choose? Well, if they're on Shopify, they're using, unsurprisingly, Shopify Payments, which is powered by Stripe. You've probably heard of them. So if you're setting up an online store in America, you're probably going to go with one of the giant ones. We're talking PayPal, Stripe, Square, Braintree, 2Checkout, Apple Pay, Klarna, which is that buy now, pay later nonsense. And pretty much everything I just listed, without me even looking it up, I can almost guarantee you they do not allow any kind of gambling services or sweepstakes or anything like that. That's just too sketchy, too, not what they want to be involved in when they could just, have grandma selling stuffed animals on her own website, and that's a lot safer. So if you set up Bob's Awesome Casino, and then you want to look for a way to actually have people fund their accounts, well, then you got to find one that will allow your services. So you're a smaller payment processor, you're trying to compete with the big guys, what's your hook? Why would anybody go with you as opposed to the giant ones when they probably have better customer support and better prices? That's why they're the size they are. Well, it's simple. You offer services that the big ones don't. So this is like the checkout screen from chanced.com. So they're like based in Texas, they're like 4 years old, they're they're real on the up and up. But man, every payment processor was probably turning them down left and right. So who'd they end up with? Well, you could just see it in the bottom left there. It's PaySafe, which that sounds lovely. PaySafe is a credit card processor based in London, England. So we're already off to the races with this one. I wonder why your credit card company doesn't like them when you're in America and there's quote unquote no logical reason to use them. Well, their own website says they specialize in quote high risk verticals like online gambling, crypto exchanges, forex trading, which is like finance, and one that I'm not going to mention, but you can imagine. So that's like their thing. They specialize in it. They have, reps that know how to do it. And I'm sure they're probably a full percent higher than everybody else as far as the fees that they take. Because, they're taking a risk. Oh, it's like who else are you going to go with? I mean, their tagline could literally be, go with us instead of the big guys, because you're forced to. There is no other option. Now, this PaySafe company goes back to 1996 to 1999, some mergers and acquisitions, but, they've been around for a while. They're, I'd say, respectable, but if you look up their reputation online, no comment. But, well, they work in high-risk verticals. Well, why is it called that? Let me give you an example of why this is a thing. So this is Steve. Steve buys in $500 on his debit card, and then he loses it all and says, oh, they're scamming me. I played like an idiot, but it's totally their fault. I lost all my money. You know what? I'm going to file a chargeback, which is where you say like, oh, the thing I bought didn't arrive. I was never funded. They ripped me off, whatever. I contacted the vendor 3 times, and they refused to give me my refund for the service or product that didn't arrive. So I need you to reverse the transaction. And Steve's just sitting there like, yeah, I'm going to get away with this. I'm going to get all my money back. Ha! Let me just warn you, if you try that, you're getting arrested. They literally have your ID on file. But people have tried it. So PaySafe has a super long record of being able to defend against, stolen credit cards, fraud, and especially chargebacks. Because if Bob's Casino gets too many chargebacks, they're going to go out of business. So Bob goes with PaySafe because they say we have a great defense against this. We'll keep it tight. We'll make sure that people can't reverse the transactions, etc. And that's why they go with them. But people still try. Also, they're associated with some questionable websites, obviously. Because that's the payment processor you go to if you have like a real gray area kind of thing that might be illegal in some countries and, some other stuff like that. Or it's just considered high risk. So then you go to your credit card company. They're like, well, so-and-so payment processor is trying to run this card, but they're notorious for only working with companies that are really sketchy. So we're just not going to let the card work. And if you're thinking this is like Visa or MasterCard, not usually. Like if I pull up my Visa, it says Elan Financial Services on it. And that's because it's through them. You very rarely get a card directly through Visa. Elan has 50 million credit and debit cards for 1,700 different, usually banks. And it's usually them saying no, not the entirety of Visa or MasterCard saying no. Because they just say, hey, we've had a bad experience with this payment processor. We get a lot of chargebacks, a lot of stolen reports, a lot of this and that. And we just, why would we waste the staff time on that? We're just going to cut them off and ban them. So you might be thinking, but it's my card. I want to run it where I want. Well, Papa Visa said no, even though it's really Papa Elan. And I mentioned Elan because, Elan don't work at almost any online casino. So good luck with that one. You're an adult. You should be in charge of your own dang cards. What if you could operate as your own payment processor and issue your own card and make your own rules? Yeah, what if? Well, if you're on YouTube 10 years ago, you couldn't stop hearing about privacy.com, and guess what? They're still around. They basically do single-use virtual cards. You just click once, boom, brand new card, you use it one time, and then it cannot be run a second time. So somebody leaks it, steals it, gets in some data breach, nope, won't run. Single-use virtual card. A lot of big banks, I know Chase does this. They have like a virtual card system where you log in online and say, hey, I need a burner card. I need a single-use card because I don't necessarily trust this vendor. But they usually have the same problems where they'll like start blocking stuff. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I like privacy.com because you're completely in control. And they'll basically just let you run it wherever because the odds of it getting stolen are zero because that's actually functionally impossible. And it's completely free because they're the people running the cards. So they get like the little 0.8% when the vendor runs your virtual card. And yeah, I don't remember paying, $500 to set up my Discover card. I paid $0. Where does the money come from? Well, every time I run it at Walmart, it's about 1.9% out of Walmart's pocket. Well, that and obviously a credit card company would be interest. But these all effectively function as debit cards, but I believe they are represented to the vendor as a credit card. There's no balances, no interest, no nothing to pay off. Like I said, it just functions as a debit card. But on their free tier, you got a daily spending limit of $500, monthly of $2,000, and you can generate up to 12 cards per month. So if for some reason you want to go higher than that, here's the pricing right now. Not completely unreasonable, but I really like the free tier. But there are more uses than just online gambling, obviously. The whole thing is like, oh, my kid's at college and he says he needs food. I don't know if I send him money if he's really going to spend it on food. So you create a card, vendor lock it so it can only be used at McDonald's, which, I guess if you don't care about his health, and then send it to him and say, hey, guess what? Or, okay, I created a card for you. It only works on DoorDash and $100 a month limit. Tell them to go to the grocery store and learn how to cook, but I was trying to think of examples that are online, because I said a gas station, but a gas station can't take a virtual card online. But you get it. You could use it for kids. You could use it for your own security. It's just a great service. Or I remember way back in the day, I had to buy ink from a very particular company online that I had never heard of. They're the only ones who let me buy that exact type of ink for that exact printer, and we had like 10 of them. We got it at an auction, so we needed to get a bunch of ink in bulk. A month later, somebody stole my card because their payment processor got hacked at, whatever.ink.com. So after that, I said, you know what? I don't care how good the price is or how much I can't find it elsewhere. I'm just only going to shop at like eBay, Amazon, and Newegg or something. Because, they're probably not going to get hacked. They got the money. Some website I never heard of. I don't know, man. Plus, like the subscription services, you ever try and sign up for some mailer thing or some health thing and then you try and cancel? Go online, click, cards deleted. Or you set a monthly spending cap of, $15 because they said it was $9.99 a month, and then, oh, well, we changed our minds, or really in the fine print, we're charging you $60. They try and run the card for above the limit, boom, declined. So it's really just a good service in general. But I asked around in some online groups and said, have you ever had this not work at a sweeps or social casino specifically? And people said, no, it always worked. Now, I say that because the prohibited items list on the privacy.com terms of use says no lottery tickets, no sports-related gambling, betting, that kind of stuff. But luckily, sweeps and social casinos are not considered gambling. It is classified exactly the same as if you're playing Pokemon Go and you just hit purchase and you get some gold coins. So their little workaround right now is, oh, well, we'll give you some free sweepstakes entries. The entries are represented as coins. You get them for free with your purchase of valueless gold coins, and then they can be redeemed for prizes, like, for example, 1-to-1 for US dollars. And that's legal in 38 states right now, so, not technically a violation of how their terms are written. Now, you would never be able to run this at FanDuel. Okay, FanDuel is like a Class 3 online casino. We are gambling, the end, but they're only legal in like 4 states. So just figured I'd mention that. So the free tier is just absolutely wonderful. Love it. So I tested it out to make sure they're still on the up and up and, make sure they're good like they were a couple years ago, because I looked into them back then. And yeah, never had a single problem with them. So once they verify your identity, because banking, disclosure laws in the US, you hook it up to a bank account, and then right when they try to run the virtual card that you created, it hits your bank account, make sure that the money is there, they get a successful thing back, and then they approve the purchase. If the money's not there, then the card won't go through. That's the only time that they'll generate a declined thing. Otherwise, they don't really care what vendor you're using it at. So I cannot stress this enough. You're not borrowing any money. There's no credit. There's no loan. There's no interest rate. Nothing. They are a card generating service. And you fund it with real money out of your bank account in real time. So if you were trying to run a credit card as opposed to a debit card on a random, totally not gambling website, I would not recommend that. Again, that is effectively borrowed money. I don't like that. No matter how responsible you think you are, I don't like that. And that's why I like this better. So if you're running it at some super sketchy vendor and, oh no, they might steal it. Well, these cards literally cannot be stolen. What do I mean by that? Well, they got this beautiful color coding system. I love everything about this website, by the way. Anyway, the red cards are single use. So you can use it one time, and then if somebody tries to run it a second time, it'll get declined. So then the blue card is merchant lock cards. So you can either pre-choose the category, like, Walmart or like eBay or Amazon. And then ahead of time, it can only be run there. And then you just kind of leave it until you need it. But it could be used over and over and over. Or whoever the first person to run it is, that's who it's locked into. So I set one of these up with an online casino, worked just fine. And now as soon as it came through, it said, hey, chance.com. Boom, we are now locked to that one merchant. If somehow something happens, my computer gets hacked, I'm sure that'll just happen any day now. I am literally the head of IT security for a giant company. Anyway, or the recipient gets hacked and they steal all the credit card numbers and then they start trying to run them on sketchy websites or, ATM them or something. Not gonna work. It's merchant locked. If any other merchant tries to run that card, which is a perfectly valid working card with a 5-year expiration date on it, by the way, it's not going to work. They're going to decline it immediately, and they'll let you know. So some of the more clever among you might be thinking, oh, I've got an idea. If I want a working Visa that I just have full control of and nobody's going to tell me that they don't run it here or there or whatever, I'll just go to Walgreens or whatever, hand them a $100 bill and say, I'll take a $100 prepaid Visa, please. I thought about that, and I actually contacted Chance Support saying, hey, what are the odds this will work? And they said, we don't think it will. And so then I went on a chat room with a bunch of online casino enthusiasts and asked if they ever got that to work, if anybody ever tried that. 2 people told me it worked and 2 people told me it didn't. So it's not like you're out the money. You could just go to grocery shopping with a $100 Visa then. But so then you got like the remainder thing. And then, well, what if they try to charge you twice? You ever tried to call support on a prepaid Visa? So real mixed results with that. These days, you pretty much can't even use a Visa online because everybody just doesn't want to mess around with money laundering laws. They don't know where that paper money came from. So you pretty much use a prepaid Visa at a terminal at a store, or you don't use it at all. They basically in 2025 don't work online. There is a electronic quote-unquote paper trail if you use privacy.com because it's linked to your bank account. They verified your identity and they have your social on file. So they know who you are. Now that's not only like legally required in America, but anti-money laundering. If you have a prepaid Visa, you don't know where the heck that money came from. That was just paper money, cash, could be from anywhere. And because an online casino does not want to get mixed up in money laundering, they will usually instruct their payment processor to decline all prepaid, cash cards. So that is why that usually doesn't work. So you might be thinking, oh man, I wanted to play here. I got this great offer. It looks really fun, but daddy said no, where daddy is Visa. Yeah. A lot of people were really frustrated with that. So I said, you know what? I vetted this website. Let's show people how to get around it. So that is what we're doing. So I do have, it's an affiliate link. I get $5. You get $5 if you sign up. Yeehaw. It's down in the comments, down in the description. Click it. Not exactly getting rich off this one, but I'd be shouting them out even if they didn't have an affiliate program because this just is the workaround and they're just a good company. So check out my other videos on how to beat casinos. We just got some fun comedy gambling stuff. So stick around. This is a real helpful YouTube channel in my totally unbiased opinion. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.